us give the Deputy President of the Great Republic of South Africa a warm University of Johannesburg welcome to the podium.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm told I must use this one. I don't know why. But I shall comply. Program Director, Professor Dominic Oweziamana, who's the Acting Director of School of Public Management, Governance and Public Policy, College of Business and Economics. Professor Ben Marks, Acting Executive Dean, College of Business and Economics. Professor Mpedi, the Great University of Johannesburg Vice Chancellor and Principal, as well as the university's senior leadership. My Premier, Banyaza Lisufi of the great province of Gauteng, and your executive committee here present, the leadership of the trade unions who are here, leadership of students, organizations, and representatives of the SRCs, leadership of various political parties who have joined us today, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great pleasure and honor to have the opportunity to join you as a speaker in the series of public lectures that the Great University of Johannesburg is hosting. Public lectures have an important role to play in public discourse, as they provide an opportunity for the public to engage with leaders in academia, governance, business, and many other sectors. Notably, the lecture is being held during Freedom Month, a time when South Africa celebrates 30 years of democracy. This remarkable milestone was attained by the unwavering determination of the people of our nation. The reality is that for us to attain and enjoy this democracy, countless South Africans have paid the ultimate price. Many of the freedom fighters who gave their lives for a non-racial South Africa did not live to witness its realization. The month of April also evokes memories of the iconic Solomon Kalushi Mahlangu, a young activist who was unjustly executed by the evil apartheid regime on the 6th of April, 1979. His death was and remains a symbol of the injustice and cruelty of the apartheid regime, which could arbitrarily execute innocent individuals. We will never forget, nor will we undermine the potency of his last words when he said to his mother before he went on the 52 steps to the gallows, and I quote, "Tell my people that I love them and that they must continue to fight. My blood will nourish the tree that will bear the fruits of freedom. Close quote. Program Director, these words have carried us as a nation on the path of social justice and equality. They have transcended decades and still echo through the current hopes and aspirations for a better South Africa. In thinking about the theme of this lecture, which is inspiring the youth in South Africa to imagine a better and prosperous future, I cannot help but remember the role of young people, or rather the role that young people played during the 1976 uprising. Young people in South Africa have always been at the forefront of struggle, playing key roles in the African National Congress, the United Democratic Front, in Umkhonto weSizwe, in various youth congresses in the country, students' organizations, and many other formations, including street committees, that served as platforms for change and social justice in our country. Equally, in April, we remember Chris Hani, the commander of Umkhonto weSizwe, who was gunned down on the eve of the elections on the 10th of April, 1993. His death sent shocking waves and almost jeopardized our transition at the time. However, under the leadership of President Nelson Mandela, the ANC prevailed and brought calm to our nation at the most critical time. This underscores the significance of leadership, as difficult times test leaders and define them by their ability to make the right decisions. As we commemorate 30 years of freedom and democracy, we must emulate our predecessors by steadfastly pursuing and safeguarding the achievement of our freedom and democracy. We must act and act decisively. For this reason, we must invest in building a nation that has the necessary capacity and skills to contribute to our developmental paradigm. In this regard, working through the Human Resource Development Council, the Human Resource Development Council is a committee that the President appointed me to chair in government. And this committee works together with the private sector, with universities, with civil society, including trade unions, and of course, other arms of government. Program Director, we have recently cemented various compacts that are aimed at ensuring that as partners, we deal with our agreed program of development. The importance of investing in knowledge is also because we find ourselves in a modern, developing knowledge economy, driven, amongst others, by artificial intelligence. Professor Mpedi, your institution has been one of the leading institutions in artificial intelligence. I commend you for investing in this important development, and I believe the rest of us should follow suit. We too have decided that we must teach robotics, coding at an early childhood development stage so that the children are ready for the future. But more importantly, they must be globally competitive, particularly in this era of the digital economy. I equally want to acknowledge the good work that the Premier of Gauteng, the great Gauteng province, and his executive are doing to create much needed opportunities for the youth. As they say, CP is pani. And overwhelmingly, the youth of Gauteng responds to say, Nasi is pani. This and many similar initiatives in KwaZulu-Natal, Eastern Cape, in the Northwest, they've got what they call Tunsa Lerole. And there are many such initiatives that our government, particularly provincial governments, are embarking on. And we are willing to go an extra mile through these initiatives to build a better life for all our people. Ladies and gentlemen, over the past few decades, the South African government has taken significant steps to address historical injustices and strive towards achieving social cohesion and socio-economic empowerment for all its citizens. Equally, the government has made significant progress in addressing socio-economic inequalities through social welfare programs in housing, healthcare, education, and social services. The implementation of the broad-based Black Economic Empowerment, BBEE policies, has also promoted economic transformation because our goal is to ensure that those who were marginalized become part of the mainstream economy. To determine our commitment to building an inclusive and growing economy, we have raised so far 1.5 trillion rands in new investment commitments, of which over 500 billion rand has already flowed into the economy. We have made further strides in addressing load shedding, ensuring security, enhancing logistics systems, and improving ports and rail networks. And I would like to assure you, ladies and gentlemen, that there is a national plan, or rather plans are in place nationally to ensure that load shedding is ended this year. I know you don't believe me. Professor Mpedi, they think I'm electioneering. No, it is true. That's why I'm not saying it will end before elections. I'm saying this year. The Minister of Electricity has been working very hard. Some of you might have heard him saying he's working himself out of a job because he is going to end load shedding. So I said to him, no, you are not working yourself out of a job, because once you have ended load shedding, you must plan for another 10 years. You must invest in new generation, make sure Eskom build new power stations, ensure that renewables are implemented, solar, wind, making sure that we can also use gas to power. So there are various initiatives that must come into the mainstream. And I said to him, your job is not ending when you end load shedding this year. Program Director, we are on track to accelerate land redistribution so that Black South Africans must also have access to land, including farmland. As we speak now, Black South Africans now own around 25% of farmland and have supported about 1,000 Black industrialists in Black-owned firms. Despite these achievements, challenges remain in achieving a more inclusive and equitable society. For example, the triple challenges of poverty, unemployment, and inequality, as well as corruption in various government entities, parastatals, and even the private sector, continue to pose obstacles to the nation's progress. In addressing these challenges, we are conscious that as government we must strengthen social compacts by working together with all sectors in our society. Ladies and gentlemen, as I stand before you today, as a nation we are looking forward to the general election on the 29th of May 2024. Given that many have registered political parties and aspire to serve in parliament and legislatures, I believe many will agree that this election will or is arguably the most important and probably the most exciting. I visited Bishop Lekanyani a few weeks ago, and he has a way of referring to this new phenomenon. He called it a book ballot. He says, you say now there's going to be a book ballot because there are so many parties that have registered to stand for elections, and of course independents. So my son was asking me 2 days ago, so he says, so tell me, independent, do you mean there is one person want to go to parliament alone to represent people? I said, yes, that's a new development. There are those who don't represent parties. They will come alone to represent their constituencies. So it's going to be a very exciting election, maybe a bit complicated with 3 ballot papers. So we must ensure that people understand exactly what to do. Program directors, we are not surprised that there are so many political parties. The party that I have the honor to serve indeed fought the idea that we have a flourishing democracy wherein everyone, without fear, should be allowed to participate in the elections in our country. So the ANC was at the forefront of ensuring that this should happen. I'm confident that we'll have a successful election and that the people of South Africa will continue to place their hopes and aspirations in the organization and movement of their choice. We must give people that choice. And the good thing is that, voting is secret. So I won't know who you are voting for. Some of us, it's really well known. I vote for the ANC. But I think it's important, the most important thing is that there should be free and fair election. And that has been the strength of our democracy, and we must never lose that. As we embark on the election campaign, we urge universities, political parties, labor unions, civil society, faith-based organizations, traditional leaders, student bodies to protect and secure our democracy, not only for the current generation, but also for future generations to come. And it is important for me perhaps to make a call to young people to go and vote. We have seen over the past years that sometimes young people are very reluctant to go and vote. They don't think voting is important. They are preoccupied with other commitments, but they forget that the future belongs to them. You as young people, if you don't vote, you're giving away the control of your future. In fact, somebody was saying recently in one meeting, says, remember, even if you don't vote, you are voting because somebody will vote for you. So the choice that you should make will be made by someone else on your behalf if you don't vote. So I do hope, especially our students, please go out and vote in your big numbers. The future belongs to you. In fact, Professor Mpedi, this slogan of the future belongs to you is a slogan that we adopted in 1983 when I became the first president of the Alexander Youth Congress. You look at our logo, it said unity, action, and it says the future belongs to us. At the time, we're in the heart of apartheid, but we put that bold slogan and we fought hard to ensure that what we meant will be realized. So young people, the youth, please remember the future belongs to you. Ladies and gentlemen, as I stand before you, as a people, we must be proud of some of the achievements made over the past 30 years. And I don't have time to mention all of them, but just to mention a few, this includes here in Gauteng, we're able to implement projects like Gautrain, freeway improvement, bus rapid transport, and there are other initiatives in the agricultural sector, financial services, etc. Many, many projects implemented. Government has been able to build millions of houses throughout the country, ensure that poor people do receive grants, supports students with bursaries and loans through NSFAS. I know that there are universities or colleges where students are saying some of them have not received these bursaries and loans. We are going to make sure that we address that challenge. But it's something that has been done over time, and what we must say to you today is that we are committed to do more to ensure that we reach everybody. We know for a fact that to grow, we need to invest in infrastructure. Hence, we have projects worth about 21.4 billion rands that have been completed. These projects are part of the infrastructure investment plan of government, which articulate the country's needs for infrastructure-led economic growth and recovery. Further, they include the Welisizwe Rural Bridges Program, which was launched with additional agency following the devastating floods, particularly in KZN, the Eastern Cape and Northwest. Through this project, there are now 58 rural bridges under development around the country, with 11 finished in KwaZulu-Natal already. I would like to see more young people, the youth, but also women-led businesses being involved in this project, because particularly the youth, young people, as I said, are the future of our country. We need to see them involved in these projects that are unfolding. In the early years, as a leader in government, I had the opportunity, as I said earlier, to be involved in many projects in Gauteng. I'm grateful to those who gave us the opportunity to do so, and we want now to give this opportunity to the youth of our country to be at the forefront and lead the implementation of these projects. Just to encourage you, the youth of today. When we conceptualized the Gautrain in Gauteng, and I was appointed MEC for transport, and I went to look at how to improve rapid rail system. At that time, I was 35 years old. So I just want to say to you, don't pull back and say you are young. We're very young. The Gauteng cabinet at the time was composed of young people, myself, Jabu Mleketi, Katani Mahlangu, the late Ignatius Jacobs, and others. We're all in our 30s. And we took a lead to ensure that Gauteng became a construction site. You too can do it. We want to encourage you to do so. Having been afforded this opportunity to serve at an early age, we want to make sure that you have the same opportunity. We must have in us Solomon Mahlangu's spirit of tenacity. However, we are aware of the challenges that the youth face in our country. Hence, over the years, we have been investing in initiatives for the development of our youth. So we are not saying there are no problems. There are challenges, there are problems, but let's work hard to change our country. Ladies and gentlemen, the President has tasked me with accelerating execution and implementation across government, particularly in relation to service delivery. We are determined, therefore, to speed up execution and implementation. Because many people say to us, but the ANC, you have good policies. Implement. And that's why the President said I should go and lead this initiative. So I've met with many of our premiers, and we continue to speed up implementation. One of the things that we are doing is to put South Africa to work through public employment programs that create work opportunities, including for young people. The President has announced what he called the Presidential Employment Stimulus, and there are programs there that are targeting the youth. Secondly, we prepare our industries for an inclusive economy by implementing cross-cutting industrial strategy that drives growth and create opportunities for the youth. Third, to tackle high cost of living by taking steps to make everyday life more affordable for our people, the workers, the unemployed, etc. Fourth, invest in people by meeting all of our basic needs, investing in education, improving health outcome, but also improving service delivery. People have been complaining in some areas, you've got sewer spillages, etc. We are attending to those issues. But we must continue to defend democracy and advance freedom, and lastly, to build a capable and developmental state. Here we are driven by the spirit of Batupele, people first. We have in all what we do to always put people first. And that's how we're going to build a developmental state that is capable. In other words, that with people who have skills. Let's not bring into government people who don't know what to do. But I must say to you this morning that we do have a school of government where we continue to train many of the civil servants to be able to do their work properly. So, Program Director, through these priorities, we will put South Africa back on track to achieve the National Development Plan 2030, which will allow us to eliminate income poverty and reduce inequality. To realize this work, we'll continue to invest in competent leaders, and we'll make sure that many of those that we deploy are competent and are given the necessary training. President Ramaphosa have also recently appointed me to lead a water task team because we have realized that we're beginning to have a problem of water in many parts of the country. This water task team will meet this evening, and we will start going to all provinces. Premier Lesotho, I will also visit Gauteng to work with you to see where there are challenges of water, how do we ensure that we deal with that. But we will start this week in KZN, particularly at eThekwini. There are various reasons that we notice why we're beginning to have water challenges, and one of them is aging infrastructure. We need to attend to that urgently, and I know in Gauteng, Premier Lesotho has been intervening in some of these areas, particularly when there's load shedding. Some of the pump stations don't work, and therefore they need generators. And I know Gauteng has been providing those generators. So this is a task that we regard as urgent, and we're going to work hard so that we don't reach another crisis. We've had load shedding. We don't want water crisis. We must deal with it immediately. The Department of Water and Sanitation has already allocated 10.1 billion rand to municipalities for what we call regional bulk infrastructure grant, and another 4.6 billion rand for water services infrastructure grant. So these resources will be used to assist us in attending to this work so that we don't get to a water crisis. Some people were saying we are already in the water crisis, and I said, no, we are not yet there. Let's work fast not to get there so that people have water. As I conclude, Program Director, we will continue to work for peace on the continent and the rest of the world. We will continue to work together with sister people of South Sudan, the DRC, the Sahel and Horn of Africa in their noble cause for peace. You will recall that the president was 2 days ago in Rwanda, where they were celebrating or commemorating 30 years of the genocide, but took an opportunity to discuss with President Kagame about some of the challenges in that region, particularly the DRC. The president has also appointed me as his convoy to deal with the conflict in South Sudan and also to assist in the DRC, and he's going to continue also to lead efforts in Ukraine, conflict between Ukraine and Russia. So as the African National Congress and as government, we will always stand for peace. We will support peace initiatives all over the world, including supporting peace in Palestine, particularly to ensure peace for the people of Gaza. Our message for global peace will never change. We'll continue to condemn any form of genocide. I conclude, the program director, by urging all of us to remain inspired by the words of Solomon Kalushi Mahlangu when he said to his mother, "Tell my people that I love them and they must continue to fight." Close quote. We must continue to carry these words as a nation beyond the 30 years of freedom and democracy, towards the 100 years of the Freedom Charter in 2025, wherein we would have achieved a South Africa that belongs to all who live in it, black and white. We must continue to fight poverty, We must continue to fight inequality. We must continue to fight that our people have employment. We must continue to fight that our people have water, have electricity, and they get a better life. Tell my people that I love them and they must continue to fight. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.